Do you struggle to select paper for your scrapbook layouts? Well, today we're going to go step by step through my paper selection process so that you feel more confident the next time you go to create a layout. You might remember a couple days ago I selected my photos and printed them. By the way, this is day 3 of my challenge to do a little bit of scrapbooking each day. So on day 1, I chose my photos and I showed how I collaged them and prepared them to print. And then yesterday for day 2, I shared my tips for overcoming a creative slump, where to find inspiration and ideas and things you can do when you're not feeling creative. And so today I'm going to go and select the paper. So I wanted to talk through my process for selecting paper. Kind of my first step is obviously you look at the photos and you look at what colors are in them. So in this photo we have, it's kind of a lot of muted colors. There's not a lot of bright colors. If you know me, I love bright colors, so I always try to brighten things up when I can. But of course I want them to go with the photos. Now if you look at the background here, we have the house, which is blue, and you could pull in blue, but if you were to do that, you're going to draw attention to the house. Not to say we can't use blue, but we don't want it to be a highlight. We probably don't want to mat the photo in blue because that's going to draw attention to the house in the background instead of the subjects. So if we look at the subjects, and also by the way, one of my first thoughts was with the brick. I have a really cool brick paper and I actually used that in a recent video. I'll link that down below because there was brick in the background, but it ended up being kind of overpowering. So I had to do some things to help make it kind of fade into the background but still be there, you know, as part of the fun, you know, effect of the layout. So we could definitely bring in some brick, but again, we don't want to bring in the background of the photo, so we would have to use it sparingly. Now, my daughter's wearing very neutral colors. We've got the black, we've got the beige, my son is wearing gray and navy blue, so a lot of neutrals, but I think the navy blue could kind of be read as black, and her shirt of course is black. So if we pull in a little bit of black, maybe, I like to mount my photos in white because I feel like that always brightens them up, but then maybe a second matte in black, and that will bring the focus to her. Another thing worth noting in these photos here, they're individual photos, is the red door that's in the background. You could definitely bring in some red, but if you bring in too much, that's gonna again draw your eye to the background instead of the focus. So I think our plan of having little pops of black is going to help. But especially for back to school and, you know, back to school paper packs, you think bright colors, stamp sets and embellishments that I have, I like to do in bright colors. So we can definitely bring in the blues and bring in the reds, but make sure that we don't, you know, do a ton of that so that it doesn't draw your eye to the background. Now, I'm a very visual person, so I can look at these things and say, this is what I think I need to do. But until I actually see it, until I actually see these photos with the paper that I'm thinking of, it's really hard for me to visualize it. And I think a lot of us are probably like that because us scrapbookers, crafters are very visual people. So it really helps me to pull out a variety of paper packs or a variety of cardstock or paper options and kind of hold them up to the photos so that I can see what's going to work best. So right here I've got all of my current Stampin' Up papers. I like to start here just to see if there's something that will work because I really like to work with current things, but I do know that I have a really great back to school kind of school theme paper pack in my stash in these drawers that are back here from Close to My Heart. So I'm probably going to be digging that out as well as some stamp sets that I have. But the first step is I want to look through here. Now this is a little cropper hopper thing. I think I got this from scrapbook.com or Amazon. I will link it down below and any other things that I'm showing you that are available. And I like to put my paper in these paper sleeves. These little envelopes are great. They fit 12 by 12 paper, and I also have them for my 6 by 6 paper. They're fairly inexpensive. You can label them if you want, but I was missing at first from Close to My Heart the zip top bags that kept everything together nicely, and Stampin' Up doesn't have that, but I've even found myself replacing some of the Close to My Heart zip top bags with these because I like them so much. much, and they don't have that extra space at the top like the zip top bags do. So they're just nice and compact and even. So I'll link these. I highly recommend them. They're from Canon, and I found them on Amazon. One of my customers, thank you Heather, introduced me to them, but I think a lot of people are using them. So I am just going to kind of go through here, see if there's any papers like this wood grain might be a good option. There's some neutrals in here, and I know that there is another one in here that has some neutrals that might work. This one right here, I think this paper might look good with my daughter's cream pants. So we can bring some of that in addition to the black, and that draws your eye to the subject of the photo. So this is the Country Lace paper pack. And then this is Country Woods. I think some of these neutrals might look good, maybe even the navy, but again, I just kind of have to lay it out and see. And then I think that's all I'm going to pull out from here. So let's go over to my bins over there and see what else I have. All right, this is a bit of an awkward camera angle, but I wanted to show you the drawers. So over here in this little cube, I've got like photo paper and stuff for my printers up here. And then this is Christmas paper and like mix-in packs or paper that is more like tone-on-tone or solid colors but patterned, that I can kind of mix in with anything. So I've got those organized here. And then back here, I've got all of my retired paper packs from close to my heart, going all the way back because I was a maker for 17 years. So I am going to go dig through this drawer here. Let's see if I can bring you up here. So I do have these drawers somewhat organized. So I've got like more masculine papers here at the front, and then we've got outdoor theme. And I'm pretty sure I've got fall in this one. This is travel, and then beach, and then yeah, so here's some fall. We've got autumn. So I usually put school themed stuff with autumn. I only have this one paper pack, and I keep pulling this out every year to use with back to school because it's just such a good paper pack. This one was called Smarty Pants, and it's just so good. You can see I've used a lot of it already, but I also have a lot of stamps, which again I categorize in with my fall stamp collection because I kind of think of back to school in the fall. So I'm going to pull out some stamps to supplement this as well. My tripod doesn't go high enough to show you. So this is what you see usually in the back of my videos, and this is where I keep my stamps, as well as some of my kit collections are kind of hanging out here as well. But at the very top here, I've got 3 bins for Christmas. I've got a lot of Christmas because every year the creative design team and I do our 31 days of Christmas cards event, which, spoiler alert, we're going to start registration for that pretty soon. We're doing it again this year, which will be, I think this is going to be our 5th annual or 4th. We started in 2020, so 2020, 21, 22, 23. It's our 5th annual 31 days of Christmas cards. So I collect a lot of Christmas stamps because we use those in the 31 days of Christmas cards. But don't feel like you need to have all the same stamp sets as we do if you join that event, because we give lots of ideas for using any stamp sets. We encourage you to use your stash. So up here next to all of my Christmas, I've got fall and holidays. So this is basically all the other holidays that are not Christmas. And I also put my back to school up here. So I'm going to grab this and look through it. Okay, so in here I've got, let's see, Easter. Here we go. Right at the front, we've got this one that actually went with Smarty Pants. And then I have this one that was a previous stamp of the month. I even have this one, which I've been using in my kids' school albums that I've been doing individually for them. Side note, I've only done one layout for each of them in their individual school albums. And then this one is another stamp of the month. Look, I even have something already partially colored, so maybe that will work, although I think the colors might not be quite right. I've got this one. I think I used this one last year. I love that back to school. And that's about it, unless I want to do a stack of books. I definitely could do a stack of books. There's a stack of books here in the sticker sheet that I haven't used, but it totally depends on the colors. If I decide to go in a different direction than the colors that are in the paper pack, maybe I don't want to go as bright, then I can color these books however I want. All right, I dug a couple more out. This one I was thinking I want to use from Stampin' Up because of the fall feel, and this is super cool. It's got an embossing folder, and it's got dies that are hybrid that work with the embossing folder, so we'll emboss and cut out the leaves at the same time. Super cool. So I wanted to grab that. That is here's the front. That one's from Stampin' Up. And then I happened to see this one at the front of my journaling bin. So I have another stamp bin for like journal spots and stuff like that. And I grabbed this one because it might work. I think kind of like the library card feel might work for my journaling. I typically don't add a lot of journaling on back to school layouts just because there's not a whole lot to say unless I just want to talk about my kids growing and changing as a person or as people. But I kind of do that in other layouts. Like I recently scrapbooked my daughter just a couple of videos ago. Well, I've been doing these every day. A couple layout process videos ago of just her, where I'm going to journal about how much she's grown up and starting middle school and all that. So I don't typically say a lot on my back to school pages. Well, look who just got home. This is
Tyler.
This is my little guy who you've seen in photos because he's in these back to school photos, but I scrapbook him all the time. And one of his favorite things to do is craft. Do you love to craft?
Yeah.
Do you love to stamp?
Yeah.
Do you love to do the little rolly thing and do the die cuts?
What little thing?
The little machine back there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he loves to do the die cuts. So we just picked out all of our stamps. You see this pile right here? Those are our options. So are you going to help me stamp them tomorrow? And
maybe.
And cut them out?
Maybe.
So maybe he'll make an appearance tomorrow for when we die cut and stamp the embellishments. But today we are going to stick to selecting the paper. So let's get to that right now.
Hi, it's Tyler, Jayma's son. I just got home from school.
All right, we're back to the good old overhead camera. I thought that was the best way to show this to you. So I'm starting with just a plain white piece of paper. That's typically how I like to start a layout. And then I've got my photos. Now I haven't cut these down yet, but I'm thinking they'll go like this and I'll crop them to 3x3. So that's kind of the layout. So let's refer back to the sketches we chose yesterday. This was the first one, and these photos could be bumped down, and then another one added up here, and then this piece brought all the way up. And then this one already fits 3x3 photos. You hear that clapping? I bet the Padres just scored. And then this 5x7 with 2 mats around my 4x6. I can get it pretty close to 5x7. This one doesn't have a mat or anything. Now, my first thought after looking at these and taking all the paper out is I love this pattern right here, and I think it's super fitting because my daughter has new Converse shoes. So I think that would be really fun. It would be a way to bring in color, but since this is a white background, it's not like super powerful color. And with this sketch right here, you see a lot of that pattern right there. Now, if we were to go back to this sketch right here, there's some pattern showing in these strips here on the sides, but a lot of the paper is being covered up. So it's better to use a paper that's going to be like a small scale, or not something where the icons are a little bigger and more spaced out, and you're not going to see a lot of it with this one. So at this point, I'm leaning towards this sketch, and then this sketch here, I could have that going across there, and then maybe have this here, but then my title I was going to put kind of across here, and that's going to be too busy to have a title on. So at this point, I have now narrowed down my sketches to this one. This is what I'm going to go with, and I'm going to kind of lay out my papers according to this sketch. All right, so pretty sure we're going to use the kicks. So we'll put that down at the bottom as the sketch calls for. And then here are the papers that I took out from the Country Lace and the Country Woods. And now that I have them out and I am pretty sure I want to use this, this does not look good with this. Totally different styles. While I love the look of this with her pants, it just does not work, and I would rather use this one. So that is going to be out. And I really don't like any of these wood grains either. So even if I liked the wood grains, like for example this navy, I was thinking maybe navy. His shorts, you know, they might actually be black. I think they are. I think they just look black in the shadows. So that's originally why I was thinking maybe navy, but when I put my photos on it, like, it just doesn't do anything. It kind of, even though the house is a different color blue, it just kind of like all blends together, and it doesn't do anything to make the subjects of the photo pop. So I definitely don't like that. And then these ones here, oh, and then I pulled this one too. I just, again, they don't work with this, but if you were using different paper, I think this one, the gray is too cool to go with this, which is what we're trying to kind of highlight, is this tone, which is warm. So I don't like the gray with that, and I think it's too much contrast. This one's a little less contrast. I do like it that it has a little bit of orangey yellow to go with the backpack. Kind of helps that stand out. But it's got some gray. I don't love that, and I'm just not loving that. And then I think this one has too much contrast too. I think it's fighting with the brick in this instance. So I am going to automatically rule all of those out, which means I'm pretty much just sticking to this Smarty Pants pack. So I've already got this one down at the bottom, and then we have some other patterns that I kind of left here on top that I thought might work. So we've got this one that could either go back. So the sketch again has like a big piece of the background showing. So we could do something like that. And then let me grab some mats. These aren't exactly the right sizes, but if we're gonna mat this on white and then black, kind of get an idea there. So it does pop off of there, but I don't know, I feel like this background just kind of blends in. Like, her pants are not the exact color, but it's kind of the same tones, and I think it kind of blends in. I'm not sure I like it right behind the photo. So what if we move that over here? Could go behind these photos, possibly. And those are not the star of the show photos, so that's not as big a deal. We have this one that could go under there. And what if instead of having this right behind, we actually have that as the background? So then the white daisy will be cut down and have this like that. And like that, and then that way we can put our title up here, and it's going to pop more on that white background. We can even scooch this down a little bit. So that is an option. We've got this one too. So what if we try that one? I can tell right away I'm not going to like that, and I think the reason is this these little icons are pretty much the same scale as these, so they're fighting with each other. And I definitely do not like that one. So we'll rule that out. I think I might like this because it is dark gray, but it kind of plays off of the black. And I talked about having, you know, black to draw your eye to my daughter. So that actually could work. Have it like that. Now this one could go behind here, as this strip right here, and I'll have a piece of this showing. So you'll see this composition pattern all the way around. And that maybe could work. So I could do something like this, and I going back and forth between these. I really like the cork, but I'm feeling like the photos just don't jump off of it enough. It's too heavy. So I am leaning toward this, even though we've got the blue. This has a white background with blue, so it's not as heavy or concentrated or in your face as if it were blue with a white pattern. So I think I'm liking that, and then it'll be cut down kind of like this. We also have some zip strips. This one was already taken off, so that could go along there, or maybe that could be a separator between these. Kind of brings in the yellows. I don't know, I'll have to play with that. I'll kind of keep this out. But then we also have some pocket cards. Of course, these will all be matted, cut down. And we have some pocket cards too that I could use. So I think that's going to be too much with this also. But we have another stack of books. I could cut those out, but we also have the sticker. So we have all of these to play with. This will be part of the embellishing, which will be tomorrow. We will embellish with stickers and stamps and die cuts and pocket pages. But I think I'm pretty happy with something kind of like this. If I don't use this, I might use just a skinny strip of cardstock, ink around all the pieces with black to reinforce that black. All right, I am pretty happy with how this is coming together so far. So make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I'll have that linked right here when it is ready. And if you missed any of my previous videos, I'll have a playlist listed down in the description below. Thanks for tuning in.